What's going on, everyone? Bringing you a message, yours truly. I think that this will be something that is long overdue and definitely worth addressing. I don't see it discussed enough. Now, before we get into it, this is definitely something that I see impact people when it comes to their health. It comes to getting in better shape, feeling better, whatever the goals might be, whether their performance, their for health, or their aesthetic goals. But this can definitely be in the context of other parts in life. So, without further ado, let's get into it really quick before we do. Let's talk about our sponsor for this episode, yours truly, T'Challa, the Black Panther. Okay, so here is the thing that I have to say. I think that people will set a goal because they'll have something in mind that they want to achieve. Ultimately, it's because of a feeling. We all feel that way. There's things that we do and there's things that we don't do according to feelings that we either want to circumvent or things that we want to acquire. One of the biggest issues is that we can set a goal, which is not an issue in of itself, because of a direct feeling in that moment that we feel excited about. However, life will overall derail our discipline, right? So we could say something like, I want to get into better shape. I'm going to start going to the gym on the mornings, or I'm going to start going to the gym on these days and do these workouts. And that's great. We usually see people do those things and they get really excited. It isn't until people get derailed, meaning that, they'll miss a workout or somehow there's a break in context of what they say. And because of that, we start to feel these feelings. Now, I want to address these feelings, but before I do, what ends up happening is then a person, instead of picking up the next day, right? I'm gonna stop eating this food, or I'm gonna, focus on being a little bit more disciplined with my nutrients, or I'm gonna give myself some kind of a context. They stop that because it's been broken, and because of that break, they don't re-pick back up the next day. There seems to be this form of self-punishment where now they're addressing their overall worthiness or their overall value, and then they stop. This destroys goals. And in particular, what ends up happening is that when you look at goals over a long period of time, you can ask anybody who's ever done anything worth doing that they've achieved that's given value to themselves. They will tell you that they haven't been perfect. What they've been has been disciplined, they've been consistent. And so if you think about a graph under a bell curve, right? And under that bell curve, let's say anywhere from 85 to 90% of the time, this person is doing the things that they said that they're going to do. That doesn't mean that they don't have mess ups. It doesn't mean that they're not in ownership. And it doesn't mean that they're not striving, to be the best that they possibly can be. What it does mean, however, is that there's a consistency and there's an adaptation. When I talk about adaptation, what I'm really meaning is that a person can fall off guard for a day or even a couple days, whether they're sick, whether they miss, whether they're stressed, whether they go through things in life through these obstacles. They can inadvertently get back to the things and do the things that they say that they're going to do. And that's what I want for you. The reason I'm bringing this up is because I will see people mess up on something and they're more concerned about saving face, and so then they hinder themselves and they kind of just duck and dodge, right? Out of sight, out of mind. If I don't think about it, then it's not there. That is not the case. That is not what we're here to do. We're here overall to make progress. And so rather than being perfect, it's about being progressive. And so if you can think back to a moment when you may slip up on a goal and you might say, okay, I have all these feelings. Don't disregard those feelings. Sort through each one of them. Why do I feel that way? What happened? What can I do next time? But then ask yourself in a month's time, or whenever I set my goal, especially if it's a long-term goal, am I going to care about this moment right now? Or if I utilize this moment and I can inspire myself to be more dedicated and more consistent, is there going to be more value? I promise it will feel a little bit awkward, but the three things that you definitely want to do, take away from that, is don't duck and dodge the feeling. Sort through it. The next thing that you definitely don't want to do is you definitely, by all means, want to be sure that you can evaluate and learn from the situation, because without that, you'll likely repeat it. And the last thing, make sure that you set a plan in the future to continue keep going, whether that's going to be at the weekend or the start of the week or the next day. Highly recommend the next day. Try that and we'll be able to see some results. If this was a word for you, I ask really three things myself. One, share this with somebody who you know this could definitely be of value. In particular, whether it's a workout partner, a spouse, someone that you're going to help keep yourselves accountable other than yourself. Two, definitely subscribe and click the media. You guys can join my channel on YouTube, but definitely click and subscribe to the media, because that gives me good feedback. And the last thing, leave a comment. Knowing the kind of information that's going to be of value to you will be more of the information that I begin to produce and post. And hopefully this word and some of this has value for you as well as for my other followers, my other friends. So I look forward to connecting with you guys. Till next time, we're out of here, and we'll see you later.